Hey, welcome back everyone. Rob here from Ramp Studio Comics. So in today's video, I'll be drawing J. Jonah Jameson for you, Spider-Man's biggest fan. And so with this one, this is really an attempt of me trying to illustrate a step-by-step, or kind of a step-by-step, basically three main stages of the work: the rough sketch, the pencils, the inks. So, or a thumbnail, I should say. So when you draw that little tiny sketch, that tiny thumbnail sketch, that would have been the first stage of the work. And that's the stuff that you now see here in blue lines. So the purpose of this was to really show that you want to get that very loose gestural concept in place, really lightly blocked in, I guess, or just all the broad strokes, and then go from there and develop it further. That essentially, if you really pay attention to that rough sketch, you can understand if it's going to work all the way to the end. Like, based on that loose rough sketch, I had already had a good amount of confidence that this would come out pretty nice. Now, it doesn't mean I can't mess it up along the way. I can't make some horrendous mistakes. I can definitely change things and mess things up. Whatever. That can just happen with any piece of art, obviously. But what generally happens is if you feel out that composition, if you put those broad strokes in there, kind of like a painter working big to small, so you put these big shapes in there, you get your composition working, you got your gestural pose of your character. You generally can look at it and go, you know what, I think this is going to come out pretty good. Now, maybe you're not to that level and you're not confident at seeing that yet. That's fine. That'll come with time. But I think the main thing is that you really are aware of the stages of work. Now, I've been sharing a lot of videos lately where I'm trying to ink over the rough sketch. Now, that's something that I'm trying to bridge the gap and carry myself to that next level and really condense down the amount of time that these take. So that's really not what this one's about. This one's more about, really being aware of the stages of work. And then once you're more aware of it, you can gauge yourself, you can push yourself. You can say, well, like for instance, me reflecting on this piece, I know that the pencils I felt were necessary from that rough sketch to develop these ideas, especially for things like the background perspective, which is silly when you think about it because they're just a bunch of stacked squares and rectangles in perspective. It's nothing too groundbreaking. That's something in my mind where I've got to bridge that gap and I've got to just jump that step. But the other thing is that I felt like it needed all these other little details rendered a bit more so that I felt comfortable inking it. Because of that, this took about 4 hours. Now, this is probably based on the proportions about a quarter page panel, right? So I'm sorry, 4 hours just is too long, probably. Unless you're just doing a book out of a labor of love and you can get it done when you want to get it done, maybe that's good for you. But working for a company, say this was a Marvel page, this is not going to cut it, right? So I got to be aware of all those things, and that's where I try to push myself and again gauge myself. But the main thing again is if you do look at those areas of the work, you can figure things out about your work. You can say, well, I bet I could have drew that character right to ink over that rough sketch, and then maybe just penciled in the buildings in the back window. And I definitely could have did that filing cabinet. You look for the parts that you could have just skipped those steps. But again, I think first it's just important to be aware of where you're at and what areas you spend more time doing. So for me, the hands almost always take longer, so maybe I just resketch those, refine those even in the, once I take it from the rough sketch, I refine those, the face, maybe some of the folds, because I'm still not extremely confident with folds. I'm starting to, figure them out. And then each of those things, once you figure them out and you're like, well, I've drawn that a bunch of times, that's easy, then you can really stop refining that maybe in the pencil stage. So again, it's really paying attention to each one of those areas. But what I got to really stress is the importance of that thumbnail, the importance of that rough sketch, to look at it, even with those broad strokes, even though this particular one was a very lightly rendered rough sketch, it's very rough, very loose, you should be able to start paying attention to your composition and your posing and go, okay, I know this is going to work. I've got enough information here where I'm going to be able to get this to the rendered stage and it's going to look fantabulous. And that's so important because then what happens is you start flying through your entire story all in that thumbnail rough sketch stage. That's the way it should be anyways. You should start there, rough out every page. Don't start refining stuff. Even if you get excited, put it all in the rough sketch stage, the thumbnail stage, and then make your changes there. Believe me, you're going to want to change things as you start doing your pages anyway. So things will just happen. There'll be things that ideas will spark as you start to carry it through. But if you rough that whole sucker out, it will save you so much time, and it becomes the blueprint for the rest of your illustration. So that will bring this one to a close. Make sure to let me know what you think and what other panels you'd like to see drawn in this format. I want to do some more storytelling, so I'll be bringing you some page work real soon. But if nothing else, I want to get you some more panels. I was thinking of doing the Wally Woods panels. Those are pretty fun, so you can look those up. Again, kind of required reading and practice, I think. Also, I do have a free course. It's not only on my own site now, but also on my Gumroad. So I'll make sure the links are in the description box below. Check that out. It's on the same topic as this video. So let me know what you think of that as well. And if you got any questions, you can comment right on my site, and I'll try to answer you back. So thanks very much. And as always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.